Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Now it's time to introduce our main speaker for tonight, Clancy.
Clancy, alcoholic, Pisces. Thanks for that rousing welcome. I bet you're expecting the other guy. I was sorry they closed the curtain because that looks just like my room when I was drinking. I thought they did that to make me look comfortable. Look at that. That's how it looked. I had a little Mexican hairless dog, though. I lost everything before I got here. I was like on a room like that. All I had is a mattress, a TV tuned to MTV all the time, my little dog, and I threw myself down on the mattress, and then the little dog tried to fuck me. So I called AA. This dog won't leave me alone. The demon at the door. So this is a quite attractive group here. I know I see my future ex-wife here somewhere. I'm coming back here because this is, I have an ex-AA wife. We date each other here. Should we really do that? It's kind of a recessive gene pool. It's kind of a closed gene pool too, like the Beverly Hillbillies. Pretty soon you'll go to a convention and you'll see kids that look like you. Don't take credit for them. But we date each other here. I was here in the 80s. I've been sober for 21 years. And I'll be sober 22 years, January 26, 1984 is my sobriety date. I have a home group, the Monday night Hermosa Beach Men's Stag. It's like a living hell in there. 8:30, 100 guys pounding you on the back like the locker room, yelling, "Work the steps or die," and real macho stuff like that. I always tell guys, you know, some night it's going to be pouring rain and the best NFL games, Steelers and the Colts, are going to be on. And your girlfriend or wife's going to come out and she's going to be wearing a baby doll nightie and she's going to have a dripping Domino pizza and she's going to say, "Do you really have to go to that men's stag?" And then you find out if you're a real man or not. So we go every Monday night. And tell her you'll be home later. So it's Clancy Patrick Ohara. I'm Jewish. For 21 years, people introduce me. They say, "This is Clancy. He's not the real Clancy. He's just this other Clancy. Don't pay any attention." So I'll never be some hotshot guru, big shot time guy, and I don't give a shit. I got 21 years sober. That's the best gift I could ever ask for. I'm just one of the boys. So it all started way back in my mother's womb. She drank martinis while I was in the womb. She told me. She said, there wasn't any of that politically correct shit. She said, I drank martinis right up till you were born. So I was born drunk. And Mom was Maggie McGivney. Dad was Seamus Patrick Ohara. I was just doomed with this Irish shit, man. That'll kill you living up to that name, Clancy Patrick Ohara. Almost killed me. In AA and out of AA. Seamus was a big shot disc jockey on the radio for KOGO and WOKY in Milwaukee, and he was good at it, so they moved him out to KYA in San Francisco. He was a boss jock, my dad. He was the top of the pops when the Beatles were popular. And spinning, he used to play these black things with the hole in the middle. A lot of you have never seen them. They were called records. And he was good at it, but he was doomed. He was a drunk. Seamus was one of us. And he moved us all to San Diego. I grew up down there for KCBQ. He worked down there. And he would go to the top of the charts, but he had something called the imp of the perverse in him. It's the little loser that lives in all of us. Edgar Allan Poe wrote an essay called The Imp of the Perverse, and he was an alcoholic. He knew a lot about alcoholics. He wrote about people being buried alive, and impaired perception generates horror. And he knew what generated horror. If you keep covering yourself up with booze and drugs and alcohol, it's like being buried alive in the blues. And he knew what scared you. And that he knew about that little loser, that when things get good, we screw up. When we're the employee of the month, not here. There's no employees of the month here tonight, but but he knew that that we screw up, that what we do when we get successful, and that was Seamus. And I would go down to a Skid Row hotel room when I was a little boy, and he would put blankets up all around the windows, and there would be booze and spilled on the floor, and he'd use the sink as his urinal and bugler tobacco. It was kind of like that movie, The Exorcist. When you open the door, what is she going to be doing? What's Linda Blair going to be doing? Spinning her head around or puking up green vomit? It was like that visiting my dad. It felt like a demon had him by the ass and that he was possessed. He was a black Irish guy, black hair, green eyes, and a dark complexion. There's a legend of the Roan Inish. Have you ever seen that movie by John Sayles? It's about the black Irish. It's Irish women would get bored when their husbands went out to fish, and they would make love to seals. Those damn. And that's how the black guys. And they called them the strange ones, and my dad was one of the strange ones, and he gave me a lot of darkness. My dad, he was a dark dude, man. He would do Bela Lugosi imitations and read me stories from Edgar Allan Poe and Oscar Wilde, and he totally gave me Irish fairy tales. He gave me a dark side that I love it, and I love Seamus, but he died of alcoholism. And I lived with my mom after that, Maggie McGivney, and she had 4 really rotten kids. And we got evicted out of every place we lived. My brother, we called him Ramrod because he was the toughest Irishman on the planet. He would kick anybody's ass. He was like a street fighting man. He had long red hair and he had these fiery green eyes, and he wasn't afraid of any man. I was his skinny little brother. I would read Marvel comics. I still do. My daughter took me to see that movie, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he wears the Argyle sweaters and he has action figures. And I told her, you took me to see this because I am that guy, aren't I? She said, yeah. Big loser. I have this doesn't impress women at all. I have Silver Surfer #1. You know, they're like, what? You know, and I have a ventriloquist doll. You want to get rid of your girlfriend quick? Pull out the ventriloquist doll. I go, remember that Twilight Zone episode? I love those old Twilight Zone episodes. There's one where Cliff Robertson's alcoholic and he's got the puppet, and the puppet only talks to him. And so I get my puppet out and I try to work out relationship problems with it. I talk through the puppet. It's like, fuck you, bitch. And I didn't say that. My puppet said that. If you're in AA relationship, it's like a Twilight Zone episode. I recommend getting puppets and talking through the puppets. But I'm a scary person. I love my puppet. It doesn't sleep with me anymore, but still talks to me at night. Those old Twilight Zone episodes, that's what I grew up with. You wouldn't believe this, I know, but I'm 50 years old. And there was one of them called A Pitch for the Angels. And it was about a street hawker. He sold stuff out of his little cart on the street. And there was a little girl that was sick. And the angel of death came down to get the little girl. He looked like the guy in Reservoir Dogs, like the black suit. That's how the angel of death looks, like a yuppie from the West Side. And he came down to get the little girl, and the guy threw out a pitch because he had to talk to the demon angel past midnight. And he's throwing out a pitch like we do. And he's throwing out a pitch to distract the angel, to keep the angel away from the little girl. And all he has to do is get to midnight, just like we do. And we throw out that pitch for the angels, and the angel was distracted, and he saved the little girl. And I always think of that when we pitch in AA, because we're just throwing out that pitch to the angels to distract him past midnight. I have a little girl, 18 years old, Megan Margaret Ohara. I was so touched by the 21-year-old birthday that had his daughter give him the cake. My daughter, I just asked a girl out to coffee like 18 years and some months ago, and now I have to put a daughter through college. The child support payments just stopped. I just said, you want to go to coffee with me? We went to Denny's. Don't go to Denny's. Because we had one of those long, soulful talks when you meet your AA girlfriend or AA boyfriend, and we're just pouring our hearts out to each other. And at the end of coffee, she goes, you know what? I think I'm pregnant. Shit. Something in that coffee at Denny's, because I wouldn't do that to a girl. So that happened, and I kind of wanted to fake my death. I had about 3 years sober. I was going to that Monday night men's stag, and I said, I'm just going to fake my death. I was a disc jockey in AA at the time. In AA in the 80s, we had dances all the time. It was like a party here. And I mean, there was so many women, and it was just insane. It was like Est. It was like Scientology, man. It was like everyone in the 80s was coming to AA. And we had dances. I used to DJ dances for AA, and I DJ dances for CA, and the girls are real skinny in CA. And I DJ dances for CODA. CODA, remember CODA? I mean, then the AA people will go, oh, Clancy, alcoholic, Pisces, codependent, smokers, sexaholic, and they go on for 10 minutes about their addictions, and you're like, shut up. But CODA is not a good place to meet women. I had pretty much dated every girl in AA, and I had like a Viking go into other groups like a warrior to get women. And I DJ their dances, and they would dance all by themselves. And they'd carry little teddy bears while they danced. It was like a Fellini movie, man. And I would play Addicted to Love. I hate myself for loving you. So I was having more fun when I was newly sober than anyone should be allowed to possibly have, because I kind of got it. I kind of got it that we caught a break. And because like I said, I was from that Irish family. I really should be dead. And my brother was, like I said, the toughest motherfucker on the planet. He was scared of no man. And I would go to bars, and I'd watch him, and he would be throwing bikers and sailors out. He'd stand on top of the pool table with a broken pool cue, and he'd be covered with blood. He looked like Conan the Barbarian. I'd see guys flying out. I'd tell Tony, I said, some guy's picking on me. I was like Ali Sheedy in The Breakfast Club. You know, pulling shit out of my hair and wear the same black sweater. I was an eccentric, weirdo, loser, loner person, and this is where we all end up. This is my new family here. You're kind of like my weird uncle that won't stop touching me, but but you're my new family nonetheless. I want to tell the women here, watch out for those huggers. They're always wearing a big AA medallion and got AA bumper stickers. They have sex by a glow-in-the-dark Bob and Bill and Dr. I came here and I saw the picture of Dr. Bob and Bill, and I thought, why do they worship Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon? I thought it was Johnny Carson. So that brother of mine, he had no fear in him. He had these. I felt protected while he was on the planet. And at 26 years old, he drank a bottle of tequila and took some Reds, and he died. And that's the toughest man I ever met, and I loved him. You know what? I feel him now in me when I'm not afraid. And I just look up to heaven and I go, who is tough now? Because he was always telling me, man, Clancy, they're going to kick your ass. Life's going to beat you down. But I know he'd be so happy for me that I found this family, that I love you. You are my family. And I mean that from the deepest part of my heart. Tony died and when he was young, but we lived with Maggie, and us kids were awful. And we would get evicted and thrown out of everywhere we went. I lived above Jimmy Wong's Golden Dragon restaurant on University Avenue in San Diego, and Tony and I would fight, and stuff would shake down in people's Chinese food, and he'd come up and swear at us in Chinese, and we'd just shove him, and there'd be an eviction notice, and Maggie was fed up with us, so she met this guy in a bar named Mac McGivney, and this guy had the F word, and he had hate tattooed across his fingers. He was like Robert De Niro in Cape Fear. And Mommy married him. Clancy, this is your new daddy, the serial killer. The guy had done time in San Quentin for murder. Daddy. He would come and tell me stories about jail rape in San Quentin for bedtime stories. He'd go, little Clancy, do you know what they do for a pack of cigarettes in San Quentin? I go, I don't want to know, man. I just want to read this comic book. And I can remember one time, Maggie, this is alcoholic kids. You know how this is. I lived on liquor store food. I lived off my mother's tips. My favorite meal was Twinkies and Pepsi. And my other meal was salami, gallo salami and orange juice. So you got all the food groups. You got carbos in the Twinkies. You got protein in the salami. And you got fruit in the orange juice. And there's something in the Pepsi, but I don't know what it is. But that's what I lived on. And I showed Megan recently. I said, I want to show you the food of alcoholic kids. And we bought some Twinkies and Pepsi. I said, this is like heaven. You get some Marvel comic books. You get Archie and Veronica. And we sat down, and Megan was about 13 or 14. And I said, okay, bite into that Twinkie. And she bit into the Twinkie, and you know that cream comes out? And I said, okay, hit it with that 16-ounce bottle of sugar Pepsi. And there's a chemical reaction when the Pepsi hits the cream, and you foam up like a little dog, and we were just foamed up, and shit was coming out, and I was like, that's good, huh? That's alcoholic kid food. That's what I was raised on. She was awake for a week. She was shaking, so I gave her a Red Bull to kind of try to bring her down off of that. Poor kid. So I was raised on that, and Mac and Maggie fought all the time, and finally he threw me out. He chased my mom into a room with my mom had a butcher knife, and right next to my bed, she stabbed him. She just shoved the knife in like an inch. He was a big baby. He's little blood coming out. He's all screaming. I just kept reading my comic book and drinking my Pepsi. But the next week after, I was 16, he told me, get out of here. So he threw me out, and I joined a place called the Synanon House. And they shipped me up here to Santa Monica, and a lot of old timers remember Synanon was a drug rehabilitation center, and I lived there a couple years. And it fell apart because one person was in charge, and that one guy got drunk, so I don't follow anybody. I just follow God and the group conscience. And what's right? I need some Pepsi and some Twinkies. So I left Synanon and finished high school. I lived with Tony for a while. He was still alive, and then I started drinking really heavy, and I went into the Air Force where they drink so much, and I drank for 4 years. And the only good thing about the Air Force is I learned how to look really busy while doing absolutely nothing. And it's helped for my job at Verizon, the phone company. Verizon is fucking evil. I work for those bastards. So, but I know how to look busy and to just do nothing. And I got out of the service. I had a drunk driving in the service. Every St. Patrick's Day, I would go to jail for drunk driving. If your name's Clancy Patrick Ohara, St. Patrick's Day, jail. And it all ended up in a head-on collision in Solana Beach with my sister, Casey. She was shoving an outside issue we don't talk about called magic mushrooms in my mouth. And I was firing down shots of Chivas Regal, and 2 Heinekens and 2 Chivas was my drink. And I blacked out in the middle of the day. It was a bright day. I was hallucinating, and people were moving in slow motion and backwards. And I had driven my white Volkswagen Rabbit down there, and she was shoving Eat Me mushrooms. It was just like Alice in Wonderland. And I went into a deep black hole, and I was at .30 blackout, and I came out of the blackout at 2 o'clock in the morning in a head-on collision. I would have never had any idea that what I did for 12 hours. And they took me to jail, and I just pleaded guilty 6 months before to a drunk driving. They said, "You're not leaving." They gave me the little orange jumpsuit. I started to cry. I started to remember all those stories about prison sex. I knew someone's gonna make me his girlfriend any minute. And I was scared to death. That's the best Clancy did on his own. You know, I had a drunk driving, and I hurt some people, and I was the worst. And I went to court, and the judge, it was like a scene from the movie Heaven Can Wait. Did you ever see that with Warren Beatty? And the judge looked like James Mason, and my lawyer looked like Buck Henry. And I was like, "Heaven can wait, dude. That wasn't me. I want a second chance." And the lawyer sends me to weekend jail in San Diego, where they put you in the drunk tank for your weekend. And you go into jail sober, and they got the chrome toilets with the poop all over it, and people put like a bunch of tissues, and it's dripping with pee, and I didn't poop for 2 days. I'm not a tough guy like Tony. I thought, this is hell. This is where I ended up, and the judge sends me to that weekend jail drunk drivers program, and he says, "I want you to go to 2 AA meetings a week." I thought, what? I asked my lawyer, and I started to ask, how long would that be? And he grabbed my hand, he said, "Shut up." And the judge heard me. The judge said, "How long?" "Forever." I was all like, "Forever, dude?" So I have a court card here. I'll need someone to sign that. That bastard. And then you get to AA, and they got the picture of Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon in the hard-ass chairs, and people say the same shit every meeting. I think I have attention deficit disorder. Everyone has something these days, ACDC, OCD, and Run DMC, a little bit of that. I got all that shit, man. I've got it all. It helps in my AA relationships. And so anyway, I go to AA, and I discover the AA dance. Oh, talk about a Twilight Zone episode in Torrance, Lomita, Alano Club. And they got the cheesy disco ball. And I was so embarrassed going to an AA dance that I would hide the white Volkswagen Rabbit. That I thought, what if anybody saw me? I'm Mr. Cool Guy, and going to an AA dance. Is that gotta be the lamest shit you ever heard in your life? An AA dance. Listen, I wanna tell you something. Nobody gives a shit what you do. I always thought everybody's watching me, and no one cares what you do. I thought, oh, what if somebody sees me at the AA dance? No one cares. No one is watching you. It's time to start having fun. Should you dance, not dance? My suggestion, dance. Because no one gives a shit if you don't dance. Should I ask that girl out? Should I not ask her out? Ask her out. No one cares what you do. No one is watching. We're the most self-obsessed people in the world. We're like, what do I do? No one gives a fuck. It's time to start having fun. I'm gonna tell you that. We all should be dead. I should have been dead in that head-on collision. I'm a ghost. I am not the real Clancy. So I don't take anything that seriously. Maybe that was AA relationships. Those are easy to get into because not in this group, but some other groups, the AA woman is a little bit aggressive. They're kind of like the alpha wolf female, but not on the West Side. I don't want to offend anybody, but they'll just snatch you from the herd, man. An AA woman will just walk by and they'll just go, scum, and they'll just grab you by the back of the neck and go, snap! And they'll go, you're my AA boyfriend. It's like meeting someone in the insane asylum. Where did you meet your girlfriend? Oh, she's in AA. She's crazy. Yeah, we have fun here. AA relationships. Doesn't that sound like a Stephen King movie? We have so much in common. You can go, oh, did you pee your pants and vomit on yourself? Oh, me too. I wet my pants. You wet your pants? What a thing to start a relationship on. I don't know. So I met my first AA girlfriend, went out with her, didn't take the program seriously and got drunk, went home, turned on MTV, threw myself on the couch, and then that little dog tried to fuck me. So I went to the Hermosa Beach Alano Club, and I was just done. I got a sponsor. He said, I want you to go to a meeting every day for a year. I thought, why did I ask this guy? And after about 7 meetings, they go, chapter 5. I go, okay, yeah, I got that. I got that 7 meetings ago. I got that part. Chapter fucking. It's like hell in here, man. These hard-ass chairs and bad coffee, and people laugh at you when you say your name's Clancy. Like, shh. So, and I went to a meeting at the Roxbury Men's Stag when I had 7 days sober, and I didn't know shit about Clancy, right? That there's some big guy, hotshot. And so I go, and they call on newcomers, and they go, newcomer Clancy. And the whole meeting erupts. It was like I said, Jesus Christ, alcoholic. Some guy yelled, you're not fucking Clancy. I got 7 days sober. I'm thinking, is this some initiation? I remember that night at that meeting, and then they go, newcomer Johnny, and it was Johnny Cash. Got up there, he had 7 days too. He had just slipped on Percodan. I just saw that movie, Walk the Line. Is that the coolest movie? And then I remember meeting Johnny Cash, and I saw that movie, and it looked like the turning point in that movie was when he saw the letters from the guys in prison, and he decided to go sing in prison. He decided to help other people, and I think that's the turning point for all of us, when we decide to help other people, because I think we were put on this planet to help other people. And just saying that makes me feel better. When I leave an apartment in the morning, I pray and I go, I think I'm put on this planet to help other people. And I stop worrying about all the stuff that we're told we need, like the DVD and surround sound and the cell phone that takes photos. And do you really need that? And the plasma screen and all that yuppie shit and the Lexus. And I read the LA Weekly. Do you ever read that LA Weekly? You turn the pages, and I know what I need. Rock hard abs. I need Botox. I need liposuction. I need vaginal rejuvenation. What the fuck is that about? I never met one that needed rejuvenating. What is this shit? But we're all looking for some kind of spiritual transformation. And it's like a werewolf in an old Universal horror film. I have all those little horror monsters too. But it's like Dracula and the Wolfman, and you see the Wolfman contorting through that transformation, and it's painful when he turns into the werewolf. And it's scary, and our transformation is painful. But when we rock it out on the other side, it's like the Matrix. It is like Alice in Wonderland. It's like that movie, The Matrix, because we learn a new reality, that all that shit out there doesn't mean anything. That what I'm here is to help other people, and I feel good when I do that. And I know I should be dead, so every day is a state of grace. And I walk around free with God in the fellowship and have a ball. I got excited in my first year of sobriety. My first couple years, I decided to get a bicycle and ride from Canada back here. A bicycle. You know when you get 2 years, you think you're hot shit and can do anything? So I go up there and I get off, and it's pouring rain. I ride down here, it's all nice, and up there it's raining, and the Canadians go, "Hey, hoser, rain's up here." And I had my Easy Rider red, white, and blue bike shorts. I thought I looked so sexy. I thought I looked like Peter Fonda, Easy Rider. And so I'd cover myself with garbage bags. And you know what? You just climb mountains up there forever. And I was just climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. Big logging trucks ran me off the road into the dirt. And I have that line of mud right up the side like this. Right up there, that little line that the wheel spits up. And I'm just thinking, why did I do this? Because you get to the top and guess what? Whee! Takes 5 minutes. And then you start climbing again. It's like hell, hours climbing. Whee! It's like falling in love, going downhill on a bicycle. It was like those AA dances where I'd meet the girl, and it was like going downhill on a bicycle. It takes your breath away. Then a couple months later, she goes, "I think we should go to therapy. I think we should go to a couples retreat. I think we should go to a sober Club Med." And then you just want to stick needles in your eyes, man. She was so cute at that dance, but now you're climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing, and you go to therapy. But then I was on that bike trip, and I pulled into a gas station. I was ready to give up. And I saw a couple guys. They looked just like the Hanson brothers in Slapshot. Did you ever see the Slapshot? They had the big, thick glasses, and they had these shitty Schwinn varsity bikes that weighed 300 pounds, piece of crap. I had the yuppie Nishiki Bushiki, Butiki Bogatam. I had that bike, and I was miserable, and they have these big smiles. I go, "What's the trick?" They go, "Dude, you got to enjoy the hills. You got to enjoy the hard part of the ride, or give it up right now, because it's all hard parts." And I got it. I got into the ride, and I realized I got to learn the hard parts. I got to enjoy the challenges of life, and I got into it. I had the best ride of my life. I had the biggest adventure sober that you could ever imagine. I always wanted to be a writer, and I used to go to, and I was insane about movies too, like we all are in this town. And I would go to this place called Video Archives in Torrance, where this guy there was the seediest guy. Was like, we're all black. He looked like Ali Sheedy in The Breakfast Club. He was a little stinky, but he liked movies. He liked kung fu movies. He liked Steel Magnolias and Tom Hanks and Sleepless in Seattle, and he liked Bruce Lee, and he was like me, Mario Bava, Cheesy Dario, or General Horror. We would watch anything. His name was Quentin. He was Quentin Tarantino was a big loser video store clerk when I knew him. But we were both insane about movies, and we went to movies together quite often. And of course, I don't see him anymore. He's up someplace with Uma Thurman, and I'm fucking here. bastard. I should have been nicer. So anyway, I'm reading all this, he showed me Reservoir Dogs. I'm like, and then Pulp Fiction happens. But I was inspired by him. I used to write my own short stories, and I decided to publish them myself. And I did it on typing paper on my Macintosh Quadra computer. And I just did it. I just folded paper in half and put it through my computer and printed my own short stories. Kinko's was my publisher. And I would go to Kinko's and run off copies, and I put ads in little horror magazines. And one of my short stories did win a little bit of an award, honorable mention in Omni magazine. And I got a call from some teacher in Pasadena College. And she says, do you want to come speak at the college on a writer's panel? And I told her my publisher is Kinko's. I said, I think you got the wrong Clancy. And she goes, well, okay, come up anyway. So I pack a cardboard box full of Pulp Fiction magazine, and I used to draw a little picture of Conan the Barbarian on the cover, and I'm in my shitty Volkswagen. I drive up there. The writers' conference is huge. There's the biggest publishers in LA are there. Cigar Aficionado, Health Magazine, big coffee table book publisher, and I have my box of Pulp Fiction magazine. And they all give their pitch, and I'm thinking, man, I'm in over my head here. But I learned from watching Romper Room to be a doobie. Do you remember Romper Room, where they had the happy bee with the little beak up in the air? And that was the doobie. And they had the sad bee with his little beak down and all looking all sad and his little stinger. He was the don't be. And in AA, I've learned to be a doobie, not a don't be. So I published my own, so I went up to, so I'm a busy little bee. I go up to that publisher's panel, and I sit there, and they all give their pitch, and man, I threw out a pitch. I threw out a pitch for the Angels. I showed them my magazine, and I said, this is it, and they all cracked up. But something really wonderful happened, and something really wonderful is gonna happen to you too. Something really shitty is gonna happen, but something really wonderful is gonna happen too. So afterwards, all the students got up and they poured down on my side of the table. They ignored the biggest publishers in LA. I sold out all my copies. I had this big stack of $5 bills. I'm like, look at this. Look, doobie. This little French girl came down and she said, here's my phone number if you need any help with your magazine. I thought, why don't they just fucking kill me now? That's about as good as it gets. I felt like Leonardo DiCaprio in Catch Me If You Can. And it's been like that all my sobriety. It's like, who does this guy think he is? You made me who I think I am. I have a daughter who's 18. She dances with me. We went to swing dance lessons together. I took a friend of mine died in AA of lung cancer, a horrible death, but he was sober. And he took me aside one night, a Saturday night meeting, and he said, Clancy, make every day special. And I went home, and he had a little boy about my daughter's age, and I went home and I unplugged my TV, and I threw my VCR in the trash, and I told Megan, I said, we're not gonna watch TV anymore. We're gonna go to swing dance lessons. Talk about a Twilight Zone. That's a recessive gene pool too. The girls are all like 6 foot tall Amazons. The guys are all a little nerdy, like, dance with me. And Megan, my daughter, was good at it. She was aces. She moved like a top, and the teacher would use her as the good example. The teacher would use me as the bad example. He would say, Clancy, you really don't get it, do you? I go, no, I don't. I don't get it. But I came to dance. I didn't come to meet a girl at dances. A lot of guys go to dance lessons. You see them hook up, oh, hey. The next week, they're not there. They never learn to dance. I came to dance, and I hated the lessons. But I learned from going to a meeting every day for 2 years, and I still go to a lot of meetings. The discipline of showing up, it all starts there. And I showed up because I wanted to dance with my little girl. And I went to private lessons, and I kept going, and my daughter would laugh at me, and I kept it up. And about a year into it, there was an AA talent show. And I said, will you dance with me? And she did. She danced with me. And the next year came around, there was another talent show, and she said, aren't we gonna dance in that talent show again? And that's what AA's done for me, because I didn't fake my death. I didn't run away. You told me to be a stand-up guy and not to run, and I did. And I paid all the money. And I spent as much time with that little girl as I can. How many guys can say their daughter's 18 and will dance with them? Before she went out to college, she grabbed me and she said, you're the best dad I could have ever asked for. And that's what AA's given to me, is a daughter like that who dances with me. And we dance on fire, and I dance all the time. I've danced for 21 years, and the gods ride you when you dance. And it's been beyond all my dreams have come true here. And my life can be hell. I work for Verizon. Verizon is goddamn evil. Just look at your cell phone bill. And I work for like the yuppies up in Palos Verdes during El Nino. I went up there once, and it was pouring rain, and the rich people call you phone man. I'm like, it's 9 o'clock in this way. They go, no, phone man, we want a fucking phone fixed now. And so I go in the backyard, and I climb the pole, and I'm halfway up the pole in the pouring rain, shivering like my little dog. And I look in there, and they have plasma screen, they have DVD surround sound, they're eating Domino's pizza, they have vaginal rejuvenation. I couldn't see it, but I bet you they got it. Rich people buy this shit, like, why not? And I'm out there shivering, I'm like, God. So I get to the top of the pole, and I'm getting shocked because I'm all wet. And I look up, and my Verizon helmet falls off, and I look up, and I remembered what Patrick Keelahan told me, and the clouds broke, and I saw the entire universe. I saw all the stars in the night, and that's what you've given me. Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think. Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, Oop. Out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.